Hey guys, this is the third sculpting stream. So this sculpting stream today will be focused on another one of the clansmen or the Highlanders. So someone put in the Discord this morning that well, 'cause I spoke about how every year I'm going to be redoing sort of the clansmen and then watch them sort of evolve over the years. And someone said, when are we finally going to get them mooning like in Braveheart? Anyway, I'm playing with my clansman figures for the last time at a tournament in the next 2 weeks. As in before I sort of shelve the army and then start something else. So I thought, oh, this would be a really fun um, model to add to the collection, sort of right before it's before it's retired. So anyway, I'm gonna start by making the pose for this figure. So the idea is it's going to be him sort of bending over, holding the claymore in one hand and lifting up the kilt with the other one. So anyway, this one had this pose I've just grabbed out has out of the library. I'll keep it open just in case. Has the leg forward already and one leg back. So I thought that was all right. Start now by body. Cool. I've seen online before a couple of like a group of figures where there was sort of like three or four of them, and they were all flashing. I tried to find those to see just like how have other people done it, but I couldn't find those this morning. Um, but yeah, it's something to do with the Google Safe Search or something wasn't showing me what I was trying to find. Anyway, let's twist the shell. Gonna have to go back and redo a lot of body up. I'll cut that head off entirely now. That one. One of the first things we're probably going to need is the bird itself. Just to show what the other clansmen look like, if you weren't aware, I've got one of them open here. So this is the remastered one, and sort of the style that I'll go for. The chainmail, the tartan tunic, sort of being tucked in the belt, wrapped over here. Um, yeah, just very simple. But I do cloth a little bit differently than I did. I so it'll be a little bit nicer than this one. But just quickly put in tilt. So actually, first things first, bring the belt across. Know where the kilts start. Turning over. She's in. All right, let's. So the hand's going to be around sort of up. Cool. So need to get the shape back of where it's sitting. Um, All right, so got some reference photos because I'm pretty sure one of the things with the kilts is they're too flat. So at these side points, I need a lot more of. It's sort of overlaid over top of each other, but I think that's going to be worth remembering. Like when we get to this is all been sort of bunched up. There's going to be the sort of the hand sort of grabbing it underneath, but this obviously is coming out all the way from out over here. But then all this material in there's got to get built up. So I've sort of just been doing this. Yeah, and then I'll have to do that sort of fabric on top of fabric. That same deal over here. A lot of this is going to get covered up by the chainmail he'll end up wearing, but it's handy to inform where the envelope is going to go. That this one sort of make this a bit straighter, like it's being sort of tugged side of the knee. All right, uh, that's enough of the rough shape now. Does need to go like, quote unquote the rear. Lift that up now. And I can let it. And now I lift it out like that. It'll be much easier to sort of layer the fabric. Easy. That might help. A little. This is the weirdest physics of fabric moving that I've ever had to sculpt. Might bring that front, but for now that's going to be fine. We'll build that up in a bit. Tucking the arms in now. Arms and just actually I'll spin the figure so that when I align it, it is this further across. So this is sort of the angle that we're looking at it sort of front on, make it much easier. So for the heads, sort of just want something grinning, but none of these are really a grin. but it also needs to get built chubbier anyway. So just one with the mouth open. Oh, all right, and this is going to get really confusing doing the doing the neck here. Looking all the way back over his shoulder. Going to get tricky. But it's one of those things where it's going to need to be he's looking with the eye. Sorry, looking more with the eyes rather than yeah. Because he's going to get that the fabric sort of going across his shoulder. That'll do. Oh, hey mate, hey Pico, how are you going? Um, yeah, cheers. Appreciate it. Um, what are you into mostly? Is it the historical stuff or the fantasy? In other words, will this figure be worth printing off or not? I think this would even be a fun one for the Scottish War of Independence line. Uh, not yeah, not accurate, but still still a fun one. I cannot do smiles. I'll start that again. I marked up that smirk right right away. The dwarves. Nice. Okay. Yeah. You printed the dwarf from a week ago. Have I up? Have I uploaded yet the dwarf with smoking the pipe? Pretty sure we did that one. The one from the last stream. Have you printed that one off yet? There we go. We don't do very many happy faces um, on these figures. I'll play with the facial features in a spool later. Probably give him. Well, he's got to have hair as well, but oh dear. Okay, so I've got to fix if the neck is being pulled that way. I've got to fix the way the back interacts with that neck. Resculpt part of the back. Hmm. Not, I don't need obviously need the actual sort of muscles. It's just sort of the position, the way it's so it can sit flat. No, unfortunately, had other sculpts, expedition ones. Yeah, nice. Yeah, I keen to do some more dwarves. Like the expedition ones were cool. My favorite one is the one with the shield. I'd like to do like a whole bunch of them and just like normal dwarf warriors that like for any sort of game system, the normal sort of warriors. But instead of being sort of in the armor or any armor, they're just in the completely in traveling gear. But that just hasn't come about yet. Um, cool. So this is right. I'll have to spend some time on the legs and the calves in a bit. All of my clansmen have chunky legs, so I'm gonna leave the chunky legs for the most part. So next we need so I kind of want just got this here. Want I've got to bring some hands. I'll grab I start with this open one. Grab this hand, the wrong hand, so mirror, and then need a much sharper arm than that now. I need to fix that lip. That's the wrong 90 degrees sort of. Actually, it wouldn't be the worst thing ever to get some dwarf figures a little bit like this, because dwarves are always sort of depicted as Scottish. I'll just out more. Then I can pull this way out. Yeah, like imagine in the last Hobbit movie, Thorin in Erebor when they're asking for the gold and stuff. Thorin and all the dwarves stood up and started flashing. Alright. Oh dear. This is silly. Alright. Cool. The model with just a mug of beer in the other hand. Yeah. So yeah, doing this, I always just start with the sort of the widest components, the forearm, way out like that, and sort of fill it in. I'll come back in later and sort of flatten it. There's going to be sort of a point on the elbow. That means that the bicep is directly underneath. So the top of the shoulder is going to. So this is the point of insertion. Shoulder, shoulder muscle, shoulder muscle, brachialis, and then start the horse. Such a weird position. Arm muscles. What are you up to at the moment? Are you painting figures or whereabout? Actually, it sort of depends. I guess what time zone you're in. Um, cool. Alrighty. That's so rough, of course. Sort of smooth that out. Come back to it later. And I know how much of it I need to see. But right now, I know I'm 90% certain I don't see the film. So I'll just make that lots straighter. come in with do the actual muscle later. I'll just polish this up. At the top of the arm, we might be covering with chainmail. Leave that for now. At least the shape is there, even if it's not sort of neat. Oh, 7 a.m. Been working all night. Yeah, wow, okay. What do you do for work? You ought to get one of them portable painting spaces. So it's like that little desk you carry around, and it's got like sort of drawers underneath it, or painting racks or something. I've been looking at something like that. Like you can either print them out as sort of out of MDF, or I think they come like laser cut out of MDF. Oh, sorry, yeah, print on FDM, laser cut on MDF. I'm gonna put that thumb in a better spot. I'll come back to the thumb uh, once we finish more of the build. Yeah, I can't quite get this smile right. It sort of looks like he's got no teeth. That's why I need to put the teeth back in it. Yeah, that's what complete lack of teeth. Ready? That might be. And somehow it just yeah, it's alright. I'll have to come back to that. So we need the other arm. I want the other arm just to be holding the claymore he's going to have. So for now, it's going to take the claymore out of this right here. And I think this one's going to need to go sort of across the body, sort of pretty long. Shorten. I will actually make some changes to claymore. Not just the length down, but I'll change the pommel. But as in, it's just a good start for now. Put the back. He's nicely in the middle of the base. What's a natural like a pose that I've got? Foot poses, multiple. I'm gonna grab out a neutral arm already made, already selected because that's what I put. Oh, I wonder where the might be a little straight, but we don't need the sleeve, obviously. Just a that might be alright for a normal one. This other one, but this one he's got is so long. Feeling that he's sort of not really carrying that. So I might need to drop it, have it. Yeah, fair. I think the sword sort of needs because it's not. The arm is a bit too straight. That's a tricky one. Wrap, wrap that. Just that in a bit. That's the far. I'll need to come back to that. That's a tricky question where that thought's gonna go because it's pretty big. So start with probably that shoulder should probably become that. It's I think that arm is just the wrong shape from here. Yeah, it'll do for now, and I'll have to change this handed. But that's fine. So I'll just right spot, move that out. Oh, um, fella needs long hair. Long hair. Work out where the hair. The last thing. Chainmail. Alrighty. So we've also got uh, this stuff. Start just by copying the window already. It is over the left shoulder. Annoyingly is the one that's already most sort of put up by the shoulder itself. Gonna have to remake a lot of this, but you know that's fine. Yeah, so I won't keep it the way it is. Yeah, I might do this whole thing first because we get this bit right. It sort of tells you where the rest of the model needs to be. So I don't mind actually the way it sort of sits across the front or the back. I don't mind that's there, but it actually needs to be much further around. Welcome back. Just I just missed nicking this bit off one of the other models. It'll have to get changed to fit. But, okay, good. Since you go down, I'll make that flatter to the body. Knowing we still have the chainmail and stuff, but I think it was just had a bit too much volume on the last one. I need to rebuild. Or it didn't. At the moment. So now I need the sort of the shirt he's kind of. I want to try and put some extra details on him that I haven't been putting on some of my other models. That like that's got the sort of the at least not the actual Highlanders, but the fantasy ones where so maybe that little pouch they all have on the sort of on the front. Really, I just need to pull up the movie Braveheart and out of that. Oh, anyway, so now, actually, just before doing anything else, I'll get shoes out of the way. I've opened up shoes. What about that point now where it's like, okay, I'll just start from the ground up, do piece by piece, trying to find the boots, legs fold. Alrighty, so for shoes, just kind of probably use the, actually, that'll do. Use these ones yet on any Highlanders. A feature that makes ZBrush worth it over free Blender if new to sculpting. Um, It the sort of the short answer is, what are you doing? What sort of sculpting are you doing? The long answer is in 100 ways, yes. Uh, it really depends of what you want to do. Uh, Blender is getting better and it's getting new features all the time, where ZBrush sort of hasn't moved as far as the sculpting in a long time. But all right, well, let's look at, and this will sort of be the answer in. Oh, I didn't put the still haven't pull this out. Cross. ZBrush has a feature called Nano Mesh, where essentially you make this mesh of the shirt with the different polygons, and then you can have a ring. It's this feature down here, Nano Mesh, appear inside of that, and you can change all of the sort of things about it. You can change, give it some variety. It's just not a bad thing. It just breaks it up a bit so it doesn't quite look so robotic. Anyway, yeah, obviously adjust size and things like that, and put different things in there. Or I don't think that exists in Blender, or at least it didn't when I was using Blender. So for miniatures, it's like, well, okay, how else do you approach chainmail? Because with this piece, I can put it onto the figure. I normally line it up with the neck and the shoulders, and then pull it around. You wouldn't happen to be the Will Price that I play with at Newcastle, would you? If you are you coming to CanCon? Alrighty. Yeah, so this piece now, we know where the belt is, so sort of just line it up and then tuck it in, push it in. One of the other things that Blender can't do is it's doesn't have the same sort of hotkeys for like the plus and minus of pushing and pulling of tools. Yeah, I figured it's a small world like that. Now, I'd start with I'll send you the user interface with all the handy tools. That makes a sort of a world difference, having everything you need right there. Um, the next thing is, if you don't have a tablet, then Blender might be better, because the pressure sensitivity from a tablet makes a world of difference. Right, so push this one right down. I'm going to pull this into the shoulders, because when we do the sleeves later, they're going to replace this mesh. Unfortunately, I haven't joined up yet, so I'll need to sort of do those rings by hand, and they don't get covered. No. So anyway, put everything in. You need to lift this up just a fraction. Drop that a fraction. Probably drop the shoulder just a fraction. Or just pretend it's there, but it's really not. I'm going to need to put some chain links sort of on the outside of this as well. Roughly. I'll probably add some stuff to the shoes in a second. This is all going to get sort of the folds in the chainmail all later, sort of once it's all locked in. I'll put the sleeve, put both sleeves in for now, because then we've sort of got the silhouette to do all the stuff on the inside with and finish this. So grab one, smallest looking one. I normally close this and make that a little bit tighter. It'll just be, what have I done over this one? Just below side. Place. It, at the moment. After this, I'll break that down, put it roughly in the right spot. And that's why we don't worry about sculpting the upper part of the arm if 90% certain it's going to get covered. Cool. All right, there we go. Push this all inside. Make that fraction split up. You painting any figures at the moment, Will? Okay. Yeah. All right, so this lift. That's this sort of fold up. That's on the outside of the chainmail. And I can that up and off. Yep. I'll straighten that out later. But actually, in reality, it might just go down. I have to play with this shape all in a bit later. Um, Actually, still not sure on Cancun, so I'm quickly running out of time. I think we were sitting on, it was like 46 players out of 64. So I'd be surprised if it really hit 64. But yeah, tickets close in 4 days, I believe. I believe it's like the 15th or something. Now, I don't think it's terribly flexible either, because I think it's sort of that you got to book it through the venue. So when the venue sort of shut down the thing, so this arm I'm gonna hide. Same with this sleeve, and I'll just work on this bottom bit here. Everything on else at the moment is all right. This forearm has got to get sort of wider before it's sort of done. But there's an awful lot of material that is being sort of pulled up into, or there rather there really needs to be. So I need to start working on the kilt, but not just the kilt. There's also going to be this sort of sash on top. So if I sort of go with those things, lift it up, start to get it up above the belt. So maybe grab one of these in that, and then go all the way like that, because that's where the thing, like what it's what the fingers are grabbing, and then I can hide some more of it. Sort of in there. Oh, CanCon, if you're an international, quote unquote, international viewer, it's a big Australian wargaming convention. It's got um, all the different game systems, but it's also now got board game participation, sort of demo games, and loads of sort of the Australian companies go and have the trade stalls stuff as well. But yeah, it's sort of a small version of like Nova or one of those sort of international um, uh, big sort of conventions. Pretty much is the most appropriate word. Oh, I was disappointed when I was living in England that Salute didn't run the 2 years. Oh, the 1 year that I was there. Thanks to COVID. So just in here, I need to give this a lot more sort of volume and shape to it. So I'm gonna try and like pull it out like quite wide out to the sides and things like that. So that there's lots of really clear sort of things to paint, as well as they're gonna be the chainmail actually just coming a few rungs under, sort of just like what this has under the belt. Better do that sooner than later. Well, okay, so it's obviously going to sort of look like that, the chainmail, but it's going to get hit by the belt. So that's actually not big of an issue. Same deal here. Rid of that. That one. Yeah, okay. That's but it still needs. Hmm. That's going to be a bit of a problem with this piece. So it's going to cover up. Might actually tuck what comes out of this bit under into here, because I don't want it to sort of cover up. As in, if this sort of sash was sort of all bundled up under the kilt in there, it sort of makes space for it. Then it sort of doesn't cover up his sort of rear. Because otherwise, that would sort of defeat the purpose. So I might up, just hide one. I bring this one. Or the other option is just connect this piece underneath to the front, and then have it connect at the top. Because that is one of the ways that they sing. Sorry, that sing. They stand. Have some of the reference art. Okay, I'll come back to that. but I definitely know that I need to do the chain underneath. So I'm just going to load in another one of the shirts. I might just cut off the bottom, drag this across. So belt piece, line it up. Cut. This is going to go by now. I'll turn back on. Sort of what it's got to match. A bit bunched up. Then we do need it. So on this piece, I'm going to push it a little bit closer to the body. Top. Then obviously this one here out way further. So it's going to weirdly stretch the chainmail's piece, but I'll have to condense it back. Obviously, I'm going to hide this. So because we don't need that bit in the middle, sort of non-existent. Cut that away. Pull those links across. This actually no, this needs to be out because it's dash. Okay. Yep, that's fine. Oh, then I'll get the arm back. So then this is weirdly sitting over the neck. I'm going to make that this operator from here now. So the one up at the sides. Fine. It'll be fine for now. I'll have to polish this. Hilt here, sort of jutting out too far. Where the line of the leg is. So instead of that, I'm going to just get rid of it. And then pretend it's sort of been bunched up. I need to pull some of the back. What day is it? Wednesday. That means today is the next episode of Bad Batch, the Star Wars show. I thought I've got to look forward to after this. Okay. So I'm gonna have another look at kilts and the way they sit because I want to work out these folds sort of front. Greetings from Canada. Finally catching one of these. Oh, hey. I'm going to assume you're forgetting who Canada. I know it. I know there's Wade, and there was I know the I know that the name's escaping me at the moment, but yes. Oh, cool. Um, there we go. We've got two of the folks that were at the our last tournament. There we go. Yeah. So sorry, mate. The name's escaping me here. For being brain dead after going to the gym before this. Cool. So I'll come back to I'll turn off this bit of chain at the top. I was speaking to Way not long ago, and he was mentioning that you guys have got like 7 or 8 players for the slow grow next. Actually, is it next year? Is it? It's this year. Uh, and that's a good turnout for Tamworth and Gunnedah. We're playing our first games, I believe, on Saturday. Well, no, our first games. We're doing a set of practice ones. This is Wade. Other guys. Yeah, yeah. Oh, because I saw you. Yeah. Oh, hey, wait. Sorry. I saw you on one of the other podcasts. And the account was your name. Won't say the full thing. And so then when someone said from Canada, I assumed it was yeah, Jared, not you, not yourself, because um we were watching Last Alliance of Noobs and Men. That was Yeah, that was like last week or something. I can't remember what day that was. But yeah. Oh, sorry. Okay, my bad. Yeah. Well, yeah. Good on you. You've got a good turnout. It sounded like you from from when we last spoke, and we saw those numbers. I think we're still sitting on like 15 or something. Um, I think it's just a bunch that haven't sort of explicitly said what they're doing, so we haven't written them all down yet. But yeah, one's on my phone, one's on my laptop. Yeah, yeah. I figured that was the case in hindsight, but yeah, I was just quick to assume. Yeah. What are you up to at the moment? Are you painting or yeah, painting figures, getting ready for the slower, or doing something else? Because yeah, Will, if you remember Will, actually, Will from our chat. Will was here a second ago, um, having a look. Yeah, 9. Ooh, that's pretty good. There's there's one thing. Everyone is running a different list. Yeah, I saw I saw it a couple of days ago, and because you had updated it at that point, and I was gonna say uh for all our teasing of Odin in our group chat for the Palanquin model having like convoluted rules. I did have a bit of a sigh when I read the players for Tamworth, and I saw that one of the players, and I assumed one of the new players, but I could be wrong, was doing assault on Lorien. I thought, yeah, this fella must have just gone online, gone, oh, what is the strongest army list, and then, so yeah, uh, it'll be fine. We'll see how that goes. I'm curious to see how because I know that Will played against Assault on Lorien and just got like something like 12 owed because yeah, that list is a bit silly. But oh, looking good. What are you guys doing? I'm actually renovating my wife's new office, building a desk. Oh, cool. Have you guys got any days sort of booked yet? As in for this, are you practice days, or you getting any games in through January, or waiting till Feb? Dating hopefully start this week. Yeah, sick. All right. I had started painting some of the models for um, February. I've put it's on pause at the moment because still haven't exactly worked out which faction I want to run it all under, just at least for the first month. Um, I'll probably end up just going with Mortal, but yeah, just not entirely set in stone. I'll probably wait to play with the Angmar figures, but I also do have the Isengard to do. But I reckon because I'm going to be there on both of the days, for this slow grow, most likely, as well as probably 1 or 2 weeknights. I might, um, for at least for some of the newer folks, so that it doesn't get like completely stale for them playing the same thing over and over again. Because I have got a couple of extra armies, I might do it, be building a couple and playing a couple. As in, I'll play my main one, obviously, but I'll crack out uh something else so that folks get a bit more experience into the different factions. Because I don't, I think there might be someone doing Isengard. I have to have a look at what there is, but there's a couple of sort of like as in there's only one person, and that's Nick Moran, who's talking about dwarves, and so I might crack dwarves out at some point for a couple of games for some of the folks, so that when they go to yeah, our event, it's not like, oh, I've played sort of 20 games this year and I haven't seen this faction. Yeah, Will, you've been talking about sort of doing a little bit of everything. Um, yeah, but nothing. I reckon that list you had with Saruman and Kid, and that one stumped me. I reckon that was a good 700 pointer. Ancon, but yeah. How'd the games go then in December then, Wade? Were they sort of at 300 or a little bit bigger? Points wise, that is. I do Harad Mordor. Yeah, nice. I reckon it would be cool because Harad can take the Mumak, right? Harad is the Mumak. And I think Far Harad can also take it, but I could be wrong. Um, I reckon having the Mumak, which is already really sort of scary with the tramples, as in, but it's like, oh, it's easy to avoid if you know what you're doing against it. So it's like, okay, you can focus on the Mumak, but then when you've got the Great Beast of Gorgoroth, if you run one of those as well, then it's like, all of a sudden, it's like the same as having dual casters. It's like, okay, I can position my heroes so they're not going to get ruined by the casters, but then you've got two of them. There's just so much more ground that they can cover with that threat of the impact hits. So yeah, that would be. It's pretty one note, but it would be scary, and it's also a lot of shooting. And I think people underestimate the Mordor shooting. Like it's obviously not great, but just even normal Mordor orcs with bows, it's 1 point to give them a bow, and that 1 point can, if it kills a horse, has done a lot of uh well, it's definitely made up for its points. So yeah, I don't think I think they get those models, the great beasts and orc archers and stuff get slept on a bit. Just did 300 points to Dublin Radagast. 300 is so hard to build. Yeah. So I'm looking at the moment, the 300. Do it. I wanted something friendly for Slowbro. Yeah, that's why I don't want to do Angmar at the start because I don't think that's friendly. Um, what, you're not going to do this logo with White Council? Alrighty. So these two bits at the back are fine. They're starting to get their folds, and it's sort of lots of bunched up sort of fabric. Actually, we'll build it up across the top as well, thickened out. But it's the front. Needs someone. I just need to put the kilt on, put a camera out, turn around, and do it in the mirror. Really. But But I don't have a good guess of how this is gonna sort of hit at the front. I think it actually might be just quite tame, honestly, because there's sort of all of this bunched up material that's getting pulled. I think it might just be a simple, like, quite flat, not much to it. I'm keen to go to Maitland on Saturday, see the new setup. The photo looked all right of sort of the tables laid out, but the parking situation didn't look promising because just carrying all the terrain and stuff. I almost just need to just take it, put it all in the pram, honestly, and walk with that. But not that the parking was too great at the other one, but at least if you got lucky, sometimes I got lucky and parked right out the front of the old store, across the road, and then you could just carry in tubs. But yeah, not okay. So let's run with that one. Turn off Dynamesh. All right, see you, mate. Um, yeah, 7 a.m. in Portugal is a bit. That's a bit rough. Oh, cheers for sticking around. Poor fella was up till 7 a.m. in the morning with work. I'm just making these lines just across the bottom a bit sharper because the next trick is to smooth all this out, is to decimate it and then smooth it. But um, like just give the computer a slightly easier go of it. Cool. So now another thing, Will, that ZBrush I don't think Blender can do is in ZBrush you can press Shift to change your brush to the secondary brush. So you can be drawing, hold Shift, use your secondary, or Control Shift for the third brush. So it makes things really quick. Whereas in Blender you have to reach across. But it's sort of one of those time-saving things where less have to reach over, for the because if you're going to change brushes sort of 100 times, um, if you can do it all by just pressing a button with your other hand, makes it a lot quicker rather than keep going down here, which is easier with a tablet and a stylus. Those looking right. Sharpening out the looking all right now. It is quite plain across the front. That's probably, to be fair, it's also going to get this dash here, which I think I'm going to take around further. Because I might just leave some more space across the front for the freehand here. That silly smile, I really need. I'm going to take a screenshot to slap it in. So, still think this is bunched up, needs to come out way further. It's really hard to sort of gauge how big and thick all the fabric needs to be. In now underneath. I'm gonna leave doing this area till last, I reckon. So that it's a bit smoother looking at it. The kilt, I mean, can't wait to put this model right in the middle of the pipeline. Facing the enemy this opposite this way forward. Yeah, no worries, mate. See you around. Hopefully see you decently soon. Halfway through this logo, I think we'll try and carpool our way up to Tamworth or something like that, just to meet you guys instead of you guys continuously coming down. But I'm sure I'll talk to you soon. Have a good night. Yeah, for sure. I reckon it wouldn't hurt one day to get some of the like other folks like on in Discord, so that like when if you're painting or something or whatever, it's you don't need to keep putting your brushes down to type or something. Obviously, you're building a desk at this point, but generally folks are painting, I think. Yeah. Anyway, so okay, I've got to give this fella a belt, but I try and work out what's going to come out from this. So got these pieces already, but just have a look at how does it compare. Shoe chunkier. Might change the get narrower. They're a bit quite big. Just in general, I always do feet my tail down. They're definitely same setting. So in here, make it easier on our eyes. I'll pull that up out of sight. Well, I think safe to say we can see enough of the parts he's trying to show us. Um, fraction. yeah, sort of stuck on what's the best thing to do next. I think hair. Hair is probably a good start. Down, right down. So there is a head under this head. The purpose of that now draw on hair effectively, not changing the face. So for the hair, I'm gonna put on my second screen, Braveheart. Look at what does Mel Gibson his hair look like, and it's a right mess that is, but it sort of hasn't got a part. It sort of starts in the middle. Do that. It also goes up fairly high. How messy it is. So he's spun his head to the left, which means a lot of that hair that's normally sitting at the side has been pushed back. So it should be built up decently around here. Okay, let's start doing the shape of it. I would want it to roll back and out to the side this way. Alright, and then because he's tilted his head, it's going to have to bunch up, bunch here, sort of remove around there. Yes. Yeah, this is just a slow, laborious task of slowly just adding more hair, the different brands. Yeah, no worries. Oh, cool. You're coming on Saturday. If you're keen to bring 700 points, I'll play you a game of that. Otherwise, yeah, see you with 300. Have a good night, mate. It's a small world when the folks you play games with in real life show up in your work YouTube. Start to do some bigger strands. Want this to sort of look decently messy. Sweaty is also a look it should be sort of the oily, unwashed. But trying to be sort of pulled back over the shoulders. Oh, not over the shoulders, over the Yeah, okay, so I'll leave it there for now. Come back to that, yeah, in a little bit, but it's enough sort of hair to start us off. So I'll just decimate that, add some contrast, and come back to it, add an awful lot more detail later. Uh, and the autosave beats me. Do the elevator music. Cool. All right, so just smooth, dial up, turn off that, push back on the face. That is what's still underneath the face. Head. That's what it, I'll come back to the hair in a bit. One of the big things missing is just that entire other arm and something more around the neck. So where so in Braveheart he's wearing that sort of I don't remember whether brigandine is the word. He's got that sort of padded thing, but I don't really want that, so I might go for a collar sort of look. So I'll come back for another one. So grab the head, grab the body. So I normally keep the head in the I normally merge the head down, but because I want to keep it slightly lower poly, I'll separate it. That way the legs something lower. So this bit here, I need to merge this under the chin. Some issue with that head. So that's good enough for this head for the moment. I will take that. Same thing I've done. Head. Then add collar, collar in. Sort of pretending that there's going to be sort of a shirt under. So up. At least this way it looks like he's wearing some sort of shirt underneath. This doesn't have to flash because it's literally going to go there. This that chainmail piece now, I might bring it go that here. I'll bring that closer, flatter. That's actually a lot of empty space under this. There. Right. In here, fraction a bit wider. So at the back, you know what continues off of this? Going to get tucked under all of this sort of chain in here. So, normally I'd be worried about getting it all underneath, but because I'm about to do with this and bunch it up again, not that concerned. So I'll tuck it in this way. There we go. Then just pull out a whole bunch. Easy. So it's just, yeah, just being tucked in under there. So that claymore really don't like that claymore the way it is at the moment. It's just sort of going to be prone to breaking. But right angle back to be there. So it's sort of across the body, touches the kilt and so long, and touch the bottom of the base. That's probably going to be better. So I need to put the arm in. Put the arm in. I'll do this arm, the hand, do the chainmail. Then I can hide the arms, focus on the bits underneath. So what angle is it? Oh, that angle. Rather this one, sorry. This morning I was doing a smiley face as well. Like just thinking about the face up here that still needs a bit of a go. Give him some sort of an asymmetrical smirk. Like at least he's seeing the humor in it. So cool. So that's massively shortened arm. Drop that. Tilt it up. There we go. It's still touching this, not quite touching. Okay, so I'll come back to this, whichever one it was with hide this bit. Still short. Just connect these. Maybe it's probably just best tilt it all on. So that it's on the floor. Yep, that's fine. Piece actually now needs to be trimmed. let's start putting this now. Now, after this, I'll do the chainmail, leave. Okay, like the last one. How far up the upper arm do I need to go with the detail bits in terms of the muscles? So I'm going to stop it at the same point. It's just I want it to sort of still have a sharp edge, but not a lifted up sort of edge. But I think that's going to come later. So here, that looks natural. Broad here. And that's fine. So we turn on this, grab that one. Now we want to position this just there, very wide. Unfortunately, flared out at the bottom. Tuck that back. Now I'll just mask the top of this off, just like that. Then bridge it together. So we'll have to bridge that gap in there. Don't think there's any way. But I think these lengths are too big, just like the other ones were. Bring them fraction and bring it all that up. Well, cool. One with everything. How does that look? Fine. Yeah. Go. All right, so let's finish off this tutorial now. So the next step is one to mesh, one to mesh, one to mesh. And actually this one here as well. Cool. So I'm gonna actually I probably should have done this separately, especially when it gets into here, but I'm just gonna do that all by hand, which is slower, but I've already screwed it up. Cool. So just smooth this out a little bit. I'm gonna decimate this as well. I might do that first. Smooth out. Pre-processed current. Gotta fix that weird strand of hair. So yeah, after this step, I estimate one last sort of just click, turn up the contrast. It makes the rings a bit bigger. Well, it's just ever so slightly inflate. Yeah, that's the final sort of size of the chainmail. Um, while I'm in this state, I will. So, all right. So he's twisting this way. So the chainmail is going to get bunched up here. Just some little sort of sense that the chain being sort of hugged that way, but I don't want it to lift up quite so high. That back down. Cool. Um, Here, same sort of deal. Alrighty. Oh, then in here, so it's got to be separate, sort of separate from the belt. That's all right. That's fine. On this one, thing, just sort of pull it to be flat across there. Maybe even that over here. This one's sort of all right. Was not got too many bits to it that weren't already there, but we'll just fine. Anyway, cool. So that's sort of most of the shape that the chainmail needs and doesn't have. Now what we've got to do is just by hand give some of these links a bit more of a shape to them. But as well in here, just draw some of them in by hand. Doesn't have to line up that much. Like traditional models, it doesn't line up almost at all. They're just little holes. But as long as it sort of looks, what you just don't want is a whole bunch of flat areas in the chainmail. You want at least there to be regular holes. Easy. That's good. Good enough. Good enough for now, at least. Nice thick sleeve. little bit. Sort of feels like these ones not the get that bit more hole in there. Yeah, sick. That joins up. So it sits off it well enough. Got to straighten some of these edges out a bit, and then do that bit on the front. That's actually going to affect where the claymore goes. Fortunately, because it's just all the same color, can't see sort of what's what. But we know it's there. We know this. Okay, so we need to pull back it so we don't get any holes in them. I've already done that on the arms. Smooth those out. Don't really see it. It just looks just a little bit neater. It's something I think about. So the only part we haven't really made, that bit that's going to go across the front here. So no, the sword is there, so it's sort of just got to go under the sword. Sure, which way I sort of. Oh, just give it a go and put something in. I'll start with a square. I normally start everything with, but for this one we sort of know absolutely going to be a rectangle. Bigger. Put the sword back. I don't know. This might change the filter a little bit. And I'm confident enough that it will that I won't even save it back up in case. So let's pull this all the way back. Ah, it's just back. Body. That. I still sort of want it to go off. Same with this one, I'm pretty sure. It's obviously going here. There's no indication of which way the wind is blowing. Normally that's something like which way you start the folds. Probably more interesting that it wraps sword. So I'm going to put in the folds that sort of link up with up the top because it is like a wide bit of cloth that is sort of bunched up in a whole bunch. So take the sword out for now. We know that it's across there. build this, and like it's sort of got a bit of gap close gap up. So it sort of gives the impression that they're sitting on top. Well, Brian sort of gives sitting on top. I just want it almost. Not quite as nice as there are a lot longer. I don't just don't have that close. Not sure about this. Really liking that. So that sort of give that impression at least bottom. Yeah, I guess look, that's it is what it is. Not gonna magically change shape or anything. You need to pull just in general this whole thing back. We haven't really pulled it. We've only pulled the back of it just so that it's gonna line up with that kilt a bit more. Actually, I I've got it folding. I won't have it build up as much here. Have it sort of build up on the other sides of it. And a little bit further. Back face. Without sort of affecting what's front. Oop. Yeah, that's an option. The other option is just connecting this piece, that bit. I've got time because this has only taken 2 hours, pretty much done. What if instead of 2 bits I've sort of done already, make it a little bit more like There's all right. There's a bit more like this one. This piece. This it sort of wraps around like twice. I'll Or I make it one from scratch. Put sort of that. Imagine that was there instead. I think that's better. Might actually not might skip actually making one from scratch. It still did the same thing, so I don't need to worry about how our effect changed other bits to fit the other bit. But the problem with this one now is going to be up over that. Actually, that's actually going to be. Let's just hide. That's a shame. That piece, I thought that was a clever solution. Like I thought it wouldn't work, and then it actually, and it then it did better than I intended. So I thought that was quite neat. But that works as well, just as well with that sort of fabric sort of pushing up this way. So a bit more, and that's good. It keeps the sword won't break on the on this on that side of it. So now this piece of fabric runs the whole way around. I need it. It has to end somewhere. So it's probably just going to end. If it starts sort of here, wraps around and finishes at the top. Um, just has to go somewhere. Maybe out. I think I liked of the original one where it came down, but then it came out again, sort of here. But I don't really want that. I was gonna see if we even notice, and then because maybe it links up at the top under this sort of buckle. So I just make it okay, slice it off, and then entirely slice. Okay. The wrong side to do it because you can already not see his face. Well, you can still see it, but if you were going to pick a side to do it on, it wouldn't be this. It was yeah, I just keep adding material to this side, and it's still not looking like much of a problem. So in here, sort of just I now need to build it up. Yeah, and then I'll just pull this up, down, up. That way, it sort of looks like it's finishing sort of through that ring. So it starts at the top, and then it goes back down. That's all right. Sure, I know there's very strict rules on wearing kilts in terms of fashion. Don't know them, but I'm sure this is not it. I think that sort of makes sense. He knows he's doing it, but he can't see it. See directly behind him, trying anyway. It doesn't look out of place. That's cool. I think he's just smirking at the audacity of it. I don't think. But yeah, that's all right. It's probably quite three necklace he's got around that. Anyway, yep, there we go. Extra, not just. I have to look at my first figures again that I painted. I painted them, but it does look like there's an awful lot of extra chain there than I remember. The obvious detail he left is a belt. Let's just snap one in and start wrapping it up. Interesting thumbnail for this, whether it's realistic enough that YouTube decide this is not safe for work and age restricted. That piece is funny. Oh, it's this one. Alrighty, I can't see anything. If you can see anything missing, or that's not been done, move around it slowly. If you can see anything that's missing or wrong, needs fixing, uh, actually, except for the hair, let me know. Oh, that's the belt. Otherwise, I think just need some general tidy up, and it's okay. Pretty much good. These are going on the printer tonight. I need to get this painted by. Let's get that. Oh, that's pretty cool. Claymore now looks a short. Shrink just a fraction because I made the blade shorter. Okay, let's go back to that. So this strand here just looks a bit weird that it doesn't come from closer to the front. I'm gonna bring that build up. Thickness. Make up for the ones that are already quite tall. Quicker. Alrighty. These bits. Go in here. A little straighter the hair than I intended, but actually, the one thing I haven't done is the quote unquote genitalia. Don't know how much of that I really need. Have another look. Have another look, and also look at it from the point of view of painting it. Will you miss it not being there? Hope I can get around avoiding having to sculpt. There was one fella in the Discord who was very excited to see me try. Making him a bit. I don't. This needs to unfortunately just up a bit silly. Alrighty, that'll be the yeah. That mm. I don't think I need to worry about trying to do it front. I think he's fine. Okay, so the hair is better. First need and he changes the face. Scottish people. So we've already got sort of sunken cheeks. I'll give them. We've got a broad nose already. Make it short. Sort of actually has a little bit of Mel Gibson going on anyway. Cool. Alrighty. So forearms, make them wider than they were. Um, build up that fabric a little bit further. Close gap like it's fold it up a bit more, and then do that. That way there's just no gap in the figure. Line from the back. I think that's fine. So the sword is touching. I think he's fine. Merge it together. I can still change it once it's all one piece. One thing that changed where the hairlines a little far forward. What it is that one entirely. Just so the sword is touching, not touching the shoe. I just have to cheat with the shape of the sword. Well, actually, cheat with the shape. Just it will mean it's less prone to breaking because now it's touching a couple of different parts of them. Not entirely straight. Yeah, half a big paint make someone but okay, so there's the fingers underneath. That's fine. So this is all going to sort of get painted like a black between his legs. I never thought I would do this. It feels so juvenile. Oh, dear. That's one half of me wants to go in there and do that correctly, but in reality, that is enough. Oh dear. I'm back. I'm certainly not googling any photo reference for this bit. All right, that's too much. That's silly. Okay, I'm gonna probably gonna call it here. Not all the other aspects. Don't get too generous. Well, no, I'm thinking more like so, okay, you paint the whole thing skin color, highlights. You just want to do dot dot, tiny line. Um, it just needs to be comparable to the eyes and the nose in terms of size for painting purposes. All right, that'll do. That's enough focus on that. Cool. That down a fraction. Lift these up. So there's just a bit more separation in those bits. Same here. I'll just not. Only so much attention we can spend down there. They're saying. But you just know it's going to be the thing. Everyone's going to pick up this figure. That's the first thing they're going to look at and go, what's wearing underneath? Alrighty. Call it quits on this one. So I just made it smooth it out and get ready for export. This lewd video will be get the most views out of any other video on the channel, I reckon. If we give it the right tags. I need a little button to do elevator music while we're doing this decimation as well, waiting in this brief intermission. Cool. Yeah, alright, there we go. I'm going to call this done. Um, get it on the printer later this evening. Paint it up. This today was meant to be a historical mini. I was going to alternate back and forth, but sort of not really feeling that. I think I'm going to save this for you know the I wouldn't have wanted to have put this off till next week. So I did actually have something planned for this week, which I'll do next week. But I think I'm going to not worry about so much the subject matter for these sculpts, and just do it all based off sort of off feel or off good suggestions. Okay, cool. All right, I'm gonna wrap this up now. So thanks everyone for listening. I'll see you all next week.